A lot of you guys ask me pretty frequently to do more videos covering Batman the Telltale series, and I totally understand why. There isn't much Batman Telltale content on YouTube these days. We haven't had a new entry in a while, so it makes sense that people would want to see me fill that void a little bit by producing content for the game. While I have done some coverage in the past going over what a potential Season 3 could entail, I've talked about some teases by the developers that a third season might eventually happen, and I've talked about villains I'd like to see in a Season 3. The reason I don't do more content is because there's simply not much to cover. At some point, I'd love to do a retrospective of Seasons 1 and 2. I'd love to do a Let's Pitch video where I pitch my ideas for a Season 3, but other than that, there hasn't really been any updates as to if this will be a continuing franchise or if the final entry in 2017 will remain the final entry. The very summed up version of the story of Telltale is that pretty soon after Season 2 of Batman the Telltale series, The Enemy Within, the company went bankrupt and shut down. Later, the company was revived. They've even released a new game, The Expanse, which was met with pretty mixed reviews, and they've announced that they are working on The Wolf Among Us Season 2. But interestingly, that game has been in development for a very long time and seems to be in development hell. Some of the official announcement information and screenshots were taken down from the official website, and that has led to speculation that The Wolf Among Us Season 2 might be cancelled or might have been completely internally rebooted. It seems that the new Telltale is having some of the same problems that the old Telltale had, which is a shame because I really like the variety that Telltale brings to the game industry. I love the focus on story and the branched narrative mechanics that allow you to choose your own adventure. I really hope that Telltale can get back on its feet. I hope that it doesn't meet the same end that it originally did, where it just gets closed and goes bankrupt. I'd love to see Telltale become a thriving company within the games industry. Hopefully with some careful IP selection with broad audience appeal to generate a lot of revenue and some updates to the gameplay loop and game engine as a whole, Telltale can really thrive. That's my hope, but where are we at with Batman Season 3? Sadly, I don't think we're any closer to getting it now in 2025 than we were in 2022 when I was starting to cover a potential Season 3 last time on my channel. I wish I could say that I believed or had evidence that Telltale was working on Season 3 totally under wraps, that it was going to be announced at Summer Games Fest, but that's just not the case. I don't think they're secretly working on some third entry of Batman the Telltale series. My guess is that what's going on behind the curtain is very much what appears to be going on from in front of the curtain. They are probably in development hell with The Wolf Among Us Season 2, having a hard time getting that game out, which, again, is a shame. I'd love to see The Wolf Among Us Season 2. I know there's a lot of Telltale fans that would kill for that. Until The Wolf Among Us Season 2 comes out, if it comes out at this point, I'm getting worried here, but if it comes out and is successful and there's an audience for it, then I think Batman will likely be one of the first IPs that Telltale greenlights for a new season next. The time it has taken to develop a new season of The Wolf Among Us has also concerned me though, that even if a new season of Batman were greenlit, how long would we be stuck waiting for it? It's something where I could genuinely see us having to wait until 2032 to get our hands on it. Another concern that I have is, has it been too long? Is there still going to be a big enough audience excited for a new season of an existing iteration of Batman? If we were getting a reboot and it was a whole new story and a whole new continuity, I feel like there would be a lot of buy-in from new gamers. But will people feel invested in a continuation of an existing iteration, especially if they weren't around or didn't play the first two seasons? Will it be exciting to them or something they'll just write off? Let's be honest here, even the initial run of Batman the Telltale series wasn't overwhelmingly successful. There's a reason that Telltale still went bankrupt and had to shut down even while publishing Batman video games. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the answer is to just reboot it, and I'm also not saying that a Season 3 wouldn't work. I think you can learn from the mistakes of Seasons 1 and 2. I think you can really up the ante when it comes to marketing. Batman sells. People like a good Batman story, and so if you really market the hell out of a new season of Batman the Telltale series, and if you have a great story to tell with an iconic villain at the helm, I do feel like Batman Telltale could make a comeback in a major way and be a bigger success than it has ever been in the past. As far as generally what I would like to see in a Season 3, there is a lot you could do. Honestly, I'd like to see a bit of an update to the combat and stealth of the game. In a perfect world, we'd have like the free flow combat and predator encounters of the Arkham games intermingled with cutscenes that still allow you to make choices and choose your own adventure. Obviously, that's a very ambitious concept and not one that I foresee Telltale actually pursuing, my guess is it will be very in line with the gameplay and storytelling of the first 2 seasons, but dang, season 2 really did have a branched narrative. The second half of the season finale for The Enemy Within, season 2 of Batman the Telltale series, was basically just scene after scene of variation. How does Catwoman feel about you? How does Tiffany Fox feel about you? How does Commissioner Gordon feel about you? Do you choose to give up being Batman and have Alfred stay, or does Alfred leave so that you can continue being Batman? Any writer that decided to follow all of these ideas up in a season 3 would have some pretty big shoes to fill as far as addressing any of the potential outcomes of season 2. Personally, I'd also prefer that they take the harder route in this case by having a very branched third season that's reliant upon a lot of the choices you made in season 2. I wouldn't want them to just write the first episode of season 3 to kind of bring all of the branches back into one cohesive narrative. In other words, if you decided to continue being Batman and Alfred left, I wouldn't want episode 1 about halfway through to have Alfred just show back up and be like, oh yeah, you know, it's fine, I'm over it now. I'd want them to really stick with that choice. Another example of this is that if at the end of season 2, Tiffany Fox ended more as an antagonist to Bruce Wayne than an ally, I would be interested in seeing that continue to develop. I wouldn't want there to be some super out of character turning point just so that she could be shoehorned in as the ally because this particular story needs her to be an ally. I want them to really do justice to the amount of choices you were given in season 2 and follow them up with consequences. Once again, I'd like to see a lot of variety in season 3 in terms of how I can choose to flesh out my version of Bruce Wayne and Batman. For me, that's one of the greatest draws of these games, is the fact that I can have Batman talk the way that I would talk and do some of the things that I would choose to do. As far as villains, I've done a whole video talking about some villains that I'd like to see in a season 3. I think there's a lot you could do with Scarecrow. You could do something interesting with Clayface where he impersonates somebody that you trust and you reveal information to him as the player, like you get to choose what information to tell him, and then later it's revealed that it's Clayface, and it's like, dang, I just gave a bunch of private information to Clayface. You could do something with a mind-controlling villain like the Mad Hatter or Poison Ivy, where maybe they mind control you as the player and it messes with the choice system, like your choices become more limited because you have to choose what they want you to do. As far as John Doe goes, I know I'm in the minority here, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to see him in season 3. I know that a lot of people really love this take on the Joker and really want to see him return, and I'd like to see him return as well, but I almost want to see a season that takes a break from the Joker. I'd like to see some other corners of this lore explored. They did a lot of interesting setup. You could bring back a character like Harvey Dent or the Penguin in season 3. You could bring back potentially a bigger conspiracy about the Waynes or their murder. Maybe you have Joe Chill return as the main villain. I don't know. That's the cool thing about the Telltale iteration of Batman, is that it's so unique and that it really can play by its own rules. It's not afraid to mess with the continuity and do its own thing. Like I said earlier in the video, there are still some videos I can make regarding Batman the Telltale series. I can do retrospectives on the previous games or a let's pitch for season 3, but sadly there's just not tons that I can cover here. If you guys have any suggestions for Batman Telltale videos that you'd like to see from me, or any other video requests from a different topic, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know also what you would like to see in a Batman the Telltale series season 3. Thank you all so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we will see you guys in the next one.